Now, if you are looking to apply for the MBA, one of the biggest things is the GMAT or the GRE. And I guess you're doing now your research on the value of the GMAT, what it is about, and some of the tips for success. You're in the right place. Hey darlings, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you are new here, also welcome, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell to become a part of my community. My name is Nthanda Manduwi, a digital creator and media entrepreneur from Malawi, currently based in Manhattan, New York. Over the past 10 years, I've been able to build what was a simple lifestyle blog into a six-figure business. Hi, my name is Nthanda Manduwi, a digital creator from Malawi, currently based and working in Manhattan, New York. So I have been doing my research, but also preparing for the GMAT for the past few months. I use preparing quite lightly because I've been quite busy at work, but I have spent the past few months kind of interacting with also the MBA tours and learning a little bit more about MBA applications. So in this video, I'll be sharing some of the tips on how to succeed when preparing for the GMAT and taking the GMAT, but also just to give you a brief run through of what the GMAT exam is. So if you already have a great understanding of the GMAT exam, you may want to just skip over to the section about the tips for succeeding in the GMAT. But if you don't have a full understanding of what the GMAT is, then stick around. So the GMAT exam is a standardized test that is designed to test your verbal, quantitative, integrated reasoning, and writing skills. It's used widely by business schools to just kind of test if you're prepared for business school and how you're going to fare in business schools. So there are four key aspects of the GMAT exam. The first, especially the exam itself when you're taking it, the first one is you have the verbal section. Now the verbal section has several segments to it. There is sentence correction, there is data sufficiency, there is a lot around verbal. So you want to brush up your verbal skills, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about GMAT Prep and the official prep, which is what I used, and what resources you have to kind of have an understanding of all of this. But just to let you know that it's not rocket science. Everything is made available to you, especially if you can tap into the resources like the GMAT official prep. You have an understanding of what this test is, and I think the GMAT official prep is quite amazing in making you understand. And having taken the test now, I know that the GMAT official prep is quite similar actually to the actual exam, and I'm going to talk about that in a video that's coming up soon. So you have the verbal section that tests your verbal reasoning, and then you have the quantitative section. The quantitative section also has some basic math problems and some that are a little bit more advanced. It also tests your math skills and how just you apply math and business principles. Now, just speaking about this one, in my personal experience, I used to be top of my math class in high school. I used to be one of the best, really. I would get like one of the highest grades, almost always top 2, top 3 in my math class. It's been almost 10 years since high school. So for me, I realized my math skills are not as great as they used to be, even though I did a bachelor's in economics after, and I've done a master's of science and entrepreneurship. But I realized that basic math, algebra, arithmetic, geometry, I had to remember all of those little things, like how do you calculate an area of a circle, things that should be really come easy to me. But I realized because it's been 10 years, I've kind of forgotten some basics. So yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of that, a lot of that prep over there. And the third one is integrated reasoning. So integrated reasoning kind of tests your verbal combined with kind of a little bit of quant, but also just general business understanding. So just tests your reasoning, and it kind of pushes you to really think about business in a very different way. And the last section is the analytical writing assessment. The analytical now to understand the grading of GMAT, it's a score. The score is from 200 to 800, 200 being the lowest and 800 being the best. For most business schools, you're targeting a score that's higher than 600. If you can get a score that's higher than 700, even better. And I think now we have the GMAT Focus that's coming, and the score is now ranging from 250 to 850. I'll hopefully talk about that in a video soon as well, the change and why they change, and basically how these two tests are different. But the analytical writing assessment is not a part of that score. It's graded separately, differently from the other one. I think it's graded out of 6. So you get a grade out of 6, and it shows you how well you did on that as well. So you have the 4 segments, and this is a 3.5-hour test that you take. You have 8 minutes of break sessions. I think 2 breaks during the 3 hours. So you can take them, I think, in various orders as well. And I think I might talk about that a little bit at length, because I think it's a lot to know. So you can take it in different orders, whether you want to start with verbal, quants, and then integrated reasoning, and then analytical writing assessment, or you can shift that and start with quant and go the other way, or you start with analytical writing and then go the other way. I personally had a preference of doing verbal first, surprising to me because for somebody who was great at math, and although when I was in high school, I had a distinction in math and I had a distinction, a 1 in my Malawian grading system. That means the highest distinction you can get. So I had a high distinction in math, I had a high distinction in English. In my exam, and having practiced for the GMAT thus far, I find the verbal so easy, comparative. I find the verbal easy. I think the quant needs a bit more practice to bring back those math formulas to your head. So I found verbal easy. So I started with verbal, then I went into quant, then I went into integrated reasoning. Integrated reasoning for me was the hardest, and then you get into analytical writing. Again, analytical writing was pretty easy. So I mapped the test to start from easy to harder, to hardest, and then to ease myself off into simpler. So that was just my choice, but you can get to choose which is the order that works for you. So you also understand that the test is adaptive. So the test adapts to your level of intellect. So if you're getting your answers correct, it kind of adapts to that and keeps giving you more harder questions. But ideally, that doesn't mean that you're gonna score lower even if you get some questions wrong, because by it giving you more difficult questions, your score is ideally also going higher because it's seeing you as a candidate that can take on harder questions. So this is a good thing. So here are some tips on how you can prepare best and take the GMAT exam well. Number 1 is to understand the test format. So like I have said, it's an adaptive test, which means it's going to give you questions in the 4 sections and they're going to be adaptive to you. So really understand the test format. There are 4 sections. Do a bit of reading around that. The 4 sections, understand there is verbal, there is quantitative, there is integrated reasoning, and there is analytical writing assessment. When I wanted to take this first time, I was in Thailand at the moment and I wanted to say, let me just study for 2 weeks and I'm going to get in. My best friend said, you cannot. You need the time to practice and really refresh your skills. So really do understand the test format and get to understand what you need to know to excel in this exam. Number 2, and I cannot stress this enough, create a study plan, especially if you're somebody that's as busy as me, if you have a job that's pretty demanding. What I want to test in the new year, because I will be retaking the GMAT, because I want to apply for some good business schools, and I think just having a stronger GMAT will give me a better chance. So create a study plan. For me, I'm going to try to create 1 hour every morning and 1 hour every evening to practice for the GMAT. It's really important that you take your time to do this. To practice, 1, to get your understanding of the principles of like verbal principles, also the quant principles, the integrated reasoning principles, but also how to just navigate questions. Take your time. I thought I could do it in a short time. Take your time. I know there's a lot of things that tell you, I did it in 3 weeks, I did it in a month. But if you can take 2 to 6 months preparing for this, do it. Create a study plan, keep practicing, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what you need to do, but keep practicing, create a study plan and stick to it. Get disciplined and make sure you stick to the plan. Another big thing is take practice exams. I think that's one thing that I did not appreciate much, but you have different practice exams offered by the GMAT official prep. So you have 6 types of exams, and the 6 types of exams, the first 1 and 2 are free, I believe. 1 and 2 are free. You can take them the full 3 hours and you can reset them. I believe it should be as many times as you want. So I know it's kind of exhausting, like how many times can I take the same exam? But if you can, please retake the exams, especially 1 and 2. You can retake them as many times as you can. Not only that, you can also buy 3 and 4. 3 and 4 can be taken twice. So you can take the first time and you reset it and you take them a second time. And that's also good enough for you. 5 and 6, same, you buy them and then you take 5 and 6, then when you reset them, you take them once more. So you can take the GMAT exam pretty much like 10 times before you actually take the actual exam. And I think it's a really valuable thing to do, especially if you're going to take the final and you want a really good grade. So if you take like 10 practice exams, the chances that you're going to get better each time and you're also going to get to become a master of the problems, it's going to become much easier. So take the practice exams. Now, when you take your practice exams, for example, I think there's a baseline test. And I remember when I took the baseline test, I did quite well. I was in the 7th to 5th percentile. In my honest opinion, I think that wasn't very reflective of my performance, especially in a standardized test, in a time-limited test. I think I was getting those answers in like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and all of that. When it came to like trimming it down to like a minute or 2 minutes per question, I was performing quite badly. So one thing is to focus on your weaknesses. When you take the first test, you understand that, okay, this is my base and this is where I stand. And then now focus on the weaknesses. For me, weaknesses were quant and integrated reasoning. other people struggle with math. So if you struggle with math, consider taking a tutor, having somebody actually teach you some of the principles and really just practice. If you have a strength point in math, you still have to practice. Like I said, if you haven't done math in a minute, it's still going to challenge you a little bit. So you may want to take your time to really invest in this. So focus on your weaknesses and get them right. Another thing, and I cannot stress this enough, is time management. The GMAT exam is time limited. So I think if you're looking at verbal reasoning, you have about, I think, okay, on average, let's just say you have about 2 minutes for each question. On some you have less. I think on verbal you have 1.8 minutes. On verbal you have 1.8 minutes. On quantitative reasoning you have exactly 2 minutes. And on integrated reasoning you have 2.5 minutes. It's not nearly enough time to get through these questions in a way that you normally would. So you may want to actually do your practice and really learn how to manage your time to answer the question correctly. So you're looking at reading the question, but also getting in the information quite fast and then putting out a good answer in within 1.8 to 2.5 minutes. So you really want to master your time management. Taking those practice tests is going to be really helpful. Review your mistakes. This was a beautiful one for me. So when I was taking questions, whether it was a one I thought I was correct or it wasn't correct, I would still flag it for review, especially using the GMAT Prep, official prep. So I would still flag it to review to see how it was solved or done for. So really review your questions and really understand how to solve for them, because I think the more you practice, the more you solve different various kinds of questions, the better you will get at the answering different kinds of GMAT questions. Another thing is vocabulary enhancement. You really want to improve, especially if you have a weakness in English. Improve your vocabulary, improve your English, read a lot. For me, I'm always constantly improving my vocabulary, words, grammar, sentence correction, data. Improve your vocabulary and do a lot of research around how you can better your English, because the exam is in English and it's going to be testing how you understand the English language. I've spoken about this and I cannot stress enough. Math refinery skills. I was top of my math class and this still kicked me because I think I haven't done it in a long time, and math is practice. If you're not practicing, oh my gosh, I have this recommendation to make and I'm going to make it. Even if you don't want to apply for an MBA, I would tell anybody to just study for the GMAT, just to brush up your math, but also thinking skills. I think just having a reminder of those analytical math formulas has just made me start thinking much differently, in a way that I used to, but in a way that I don't anymore. So I think if you really want to just improve your thinking, your analytical skills, consider just refining your math skills by just taking even if you're not going to take the test, just do the GMAT official prep. And if you can create an account on mba.com, the GMAT official prep is free to access to all. So you can actually just brush up your math skills from this. But also if you brush up your math skills so much, why not just take the GMAT exam and have this course? Some employers ask for that. But also if you want to do an MBA, you can always have that. So I really recommend, even if it's just for like just studying, to just get your analytical mind back to where it used to be. I know I definitely benefited from that. Integrated reasoning practice, cannot stress enough. This is my biggest weakness, because you're juggling with a lot of data and in a very short period of time. And I also think I learned something about myself because I work now in a more quantitative kind of industry, which is more quantitative research. My reading skills have changed, and this made me better at the process. But I realized when I read a paragraph, I literally skim through and I'm just trying to get what are the main points and get to it. Doesn't work. Like, it didn't work for me, at least. I had to really read and get what the passage was communicating before rushing to answer. And I think that made me a better analytical person. And I think that helped me. So really practice your integrated reasoning. I think the only thing I can stress about GMAT Prep especially is prep, practice. And I will get to tell you more about the GMAT Prep, the GMAT official prep. But I think just practice, really, that's all you need to do. It's going to take you a long way. If you have a weakness in essay writing, analytical writing assessment is very important. I think there's some assets and information available online that you can actually read up on that. So also enhance your essay writing skills. It's really going to be helpful for you. I'm not sure if the GMAT Focus has the essay writing. I will find out, and if I find out that it is there, it might be good for you. So I will definitely let you know if it's there. Well, one of the basic recommendations is stay calm and collected and confident. I know it's easy. And my boss, actually, when I told her I was taking the GMAT, she said, the prepared do not need luck, they're just taught to have fun. If you can prepare really well and take the exam in a really calm setting, you will do well. I think you just have to prepare. So my stressing is prepare, practice. I'll be practicing for the rest of possibly the next few months. And I hope that when I retake the GMAT, I will do really, really well. It's not a complex exam, but it does need a lot of preparation and a lot of practice. Speaking of official practice, and the next video is going to be specifically about that, the official GMAT Prep materials. Like I said, this exam is not rocket science. Everything is provided to you so you have an understanding of what the exam is, but also I think the official GMAT Prep is the closest, I mean, it's literally identical actually to how the official GMAT exam is. So it's also adaptive, it's got a bank of questions, and I'll talk about the resources you can get in the official GMAT Prep. There's banks of questions that you can continue to practice and continue to do. You do need access to internet to be able to use those resources, which is, I think, a bit of a downside. But other than that, I think there's a lot of things that are in there, and you should consider the official GMAT Prep. And lastly, if all of this is still not good enough for you, you still feel like you need a little bit of help, there's professional tutors that specialize in GMAT. So you can get a tutor, professional help, to help you through a GMAT Prep experience. So I think that can actually help you to get a better GMAT score. So success in the GMAT is a combination of preparation, content knowledge, strategic test-taking skills, and effective time management. If you can master those few things, you will excel on the GMAT, and I hope you found this information really helpful. If you found the information helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll be seeing you in the next video where we're going to be talking about the GMAT official prep and what you get in that. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Subscribe to my newsletter so you can get a weekly dose of entrepreneurship, lifestyle, and self-care insights so we can glow and grow together. Follow me on social media so we can stay in touch. I'll be seeing you very soon. Until then, stay kind.